Here we are. 7 teams, 8 races, 3 winners, but 1 champion. This is the World Sim Racing competition. Our team, Desire Racing, have been competing in it for a little over 5 months now, but this championship that we're participating in has been the most cutthroat of all. As we head into round 4 at Spa, it's only becoming trickier to keep our head above the water, with AMP Racing Pro tailing our team Pulse by 4 points, and DH Motorsport right on our team Vision by only 1 point. We're pushing now as hard as ever to secure the greatest majority of the 140 USD prize pool for the championship that we can. Most of the races so far have been pretty straightforward. Rolling start, battle of the drivers, finish well hopefully, but this race is very different. Unlike the other races, we are required to do 1 pit stop. This concept in the past has made me lose the lead of races. Never forget Virginia Race 1. Made me lose podiums in races, disqualified me from races, given me unnecessary self-inflicted drive-thrus in races. Yeah, so not the greatest past with pit stops, however this also introduces a new strategy to the game. Fuel saving is no longer as effective, especially considering the races are only 30 minutes. 2 stints in 30 minutes is not that long. Margin laps have to be considered. This will be a major plot point in this video, and choices of tyre have to be considered. Change or don't change, wet or dry. With this new element of strategy, here's mine. Something along those lines. Where else better to pick up than practice? Only a number of weeks ago was our team participating in the Spa 24 Hours, and being now more recently experienced at the track, we were more confident heading into this race. Now this is my first time going onto the track. I personally was pretty confident. I think the rest of my teammates were also, considering what we'd done in that past week, but I think we weren't entirely sure about what the pace was going to be like for this server. So even the car choice, or what we were thinking of doing, what would be better on the fixed setup, because we were running an open setup for the 24 hour and we had no idea what the fixed setup was like. So I think a couple of my teammates were running on the Ferrari, and then a couple, including myself, were running on the Mustang. I personally love the Mustang, so I had no issue with it whatsoever, but I think the speculation was that the Ferrari had higher top speed, but the Mustang was better in the corners, so it was more of a gamble as to see what would be quicker. But I did know that the pace was kind of around the high 16s, low 17s for the front runners of the grid, maybe less depending on the track conditions. I wasn't entirely sure because I hadn't done any practice here for however long, and certainly not in these conditions, so it was just a matter of seeing. But however, as we'll see going through this lap, I actually did manage to set a quite rapid 16.5 here, which I think took P1 for the practice session, but I wasn't sure how this translated to actually in the pits for the second time this session. There are, I think, 12 drivers on the grid for this race, so I'll have to get somewhat of a decent qualifying, and those will be left at the back. Bit of a moment there for the oversteer on throttle. I got back on power a bit too early. The cold tyres are a killer with this new update. You used to be able to just go and be a bit of understeer, but now if you push it a bit too hard in some places, you just start nearly spinning almost. You see through here, you can barely turn the car and it's like a boat. You can barely get it on the curb either. It's that mix of just deadly understeer and fatal oversteer. There's not really a fine line where you can tell where the grip levels are when the tyres are this cold. You actually just have to kind of guess until you get it. 10 minutes for this quali session is not like a 2-lapper, especially considering with this new cold tyres update, so you got to get a couple more laps in to try and get a decent lap. I think the quickest lap for qualifying pace is around the 4th lap. That's when the tyres are more optimally warmed, but at the same time this does affect how the tyres are worn throughout those 4 laps, and so you have to be kind of careful as you warm the tyres on those first couple laps, and then after that the pace kind of just increases with each lap, but then tyre wear drops off, blah blah blah. But if you're properly pushing, the 4th lap is the quickest. I'm looking for somewhere around the podium places to start off with, especially with how confident I'm feeling around this track. Up through Eau Rouge, not any visible issues with the car, but you can see that the dashes are still going down from that blue tint of the number. Coming into the final corner, braking at the 100-meter board, trying to stay out wide before turning in. Just get that car on both those apexes, getting on power as early as possible for that right up to the line. I think this lap wasn't a specialty for me. I think it might have been abnormal or invalid. Oh no, it was a 17.3 across the line. Going into turn 1, absolutely butchering that, completely missing the apex by a postcode. tapping the brakes through here just to get the front down a bit and to get those two front tires gripping into the road, so you can just rotate that car, barely even slowing it down. Carrying as much speed through here. I kept it in 4th. I went a bit wide. Mounting this curve again, but it sends you a bit wide. You have to be really careful about going too wide through there, because it's an immediate off track, especially when you get onto that gravel, and it just makes that track a little bit dirtier. On the run up to Blanchimont, completely flat out this corner is. There's no question about that. Across the line, that was no better, unfortunately. That was less than a 17.3, but at this point, no one else had actually set a lap until Finn managed to do a 16.4, which was worrying for me because I had not done that in practice. Now, coming up to the line, I wasn't sure with this qualifying format if we were going to have another go, because we had gone through the 10 minutes and I thought, oh, it's just going to teleport me back to the pits. So I kept driving just in a practice kind of run. Across the line, it was a 17.2, so barely any quicker than my first lap. Doesn't put me up a place. I think it did kind of protect my P2 though. Riley Thomas behind me with a 17.24. I did a 17.23, just 100th of a second off. Going into Le Combe through here, just keeping your eye on the brake marker, just a bit after that curbing. Mounting that green AstroTurf on both apexes, going out a bit wide here. Grazing that apex just so you can get back on power as soon as possible. Taking a very tight line through that hairpin, even though you'd think to do a double apex, it works quite well, but I don't know, to be completely honest, it could be either one. I wasn't experimenting with that. Just gliding the car through there, trying to keep as much speed as possible. At the same time, you don't want to compromise the exit, otherwise you've lost 3/10 easy. Going out of the final corner. Now coming towards the line, it could be a, was it a 16? 16.82, so far 3 or so tenths off the leader. Yep, good lap, not too unhappy with that. Of course it's not P1, but what else is, to be honest, that's the closest we can get. Second, oh no, not second row, first row of the grid we'll be starting. Yeah, not too unhappy with that at all. Just got some work to do, half an hour race, so we'll see how that goes. Look, to be honest, this race, I'm not enthusiastic to stay in P2. I know what I can do, I know my pace, and I know that P1 is on the table this time around. Yeah, the cinematic music's kicked in, it's gotten serious. Keeping my eye out for Finn, but I can't see him, and I just missed the start. It's not there. I lose it to Finn, I lose it to Riley. P3 on the first straight, can't do anything about it. Going into turn 1 for the first time of this race. Nah, can't get anything done on Riley. Maybe, he goes off the gravel. Straight into P2 again. Running up to a roost side by side. Will he let off by the time we enter the set of corners? Or will it be an accident? No, Riley just lets off the throttle just to be safe in this first lap. 1 second between me and Finn. Going towards the bus stop now. Will I'll be able to reduce this gap? He's quite confident on the brakes. I've just got to try and survive behind him in this second position. But as we cross the line, I am P2. Still having to chase him down. Going into turn 1. I will have to be incredibly consistent to make up this gap. I've only got so many laps before the end of the race. And we still got to fit in 1 pit stop through all of this. Just going into the hairpin now, that gap just gets demolished. I'm incredibly confident on the brakes through there. I can just squeeze as much pace as I can through it, but I'm still going to chase him down. Going through P1 now. We are incredibly close in pace, but I just need to get into his slipstream. That's my main objective. If I can get behind him and just stay tucked in his draft, then we can pull away miles ahead of the group in front. All I have to focus on is just staying behind him until the tyres start wearing. He's been incredibly quick all season. He's only lost 1 race, and when I say lost, I mean not first. Going into the bus stop now, my brakes are so good, I can just squeeze that gap out of the car. Big moment on the rear there. I lose about half a second to Finn. Lap 2, the gap is about 0.6 of a second, still in P2. Going into the first corner, just trying to keep as much minimum speed as I can, but still prioritizing the exit. A bit of slipstream going up into Eau Rouge now. I will have some sort of run going into Le Combe. Will it be enough? Will it be enough through Blanchimont? Will I be able to do it into the bus stop? The gap is a bit big. Can I? Around the outside for the second part of the chicane. Bit of blipping from Finn. I can't quite see him. Still in my side view mirror. I've got the car on your left signal. I just need to squeeze ahead going into turn 1. Will I be able to make it? I've got the space. I've got the run. Can I make the move? All I have to do now is defend from the monster behind me. Going up into Eau Rouge, he is less than a tenth of a second behind. Bump drafting behind me. Not looking to make a move just yet, but it won't be too friendly for too long once we can get away from that backpack a bit more. Just squeeze out that gap. Going into the hairpin now. My balls are in my throat, right? I cannot relax in this situation. I have to defend with everything I have, all of the focus in just keeping this position for as long as I can, or at least until the pit stop. I've only got 20 minutes left of just defending from the car behind. And if I can keep myself from having a move done on me, then I can win this race. We go through many laps. I believe this is the 6th time we go through campus and then into Stavelot. Into the bus stop chicane. He is just inching close to my rear bumper every lap. Onto the start-finish straight. I'm still P1 after a number of laps. Although we are in the same team, we are still fighting for this position. Finn, not so much. He's still just trying to extend that gap to those cars behind. But I am fighting with my life at this moment. In this series, there are 2 teams of Nazare Vision and Nazare Pulse. Nazare Vision I'm a part of with Riley Thomas, and Finn Catlin is part of Nazare Pulse with Moran Arkot and Ire Erdogan. Now, we are still part of the same team, so it's not like we've got a rivalry or anything. But I was, as I said before, fighting for my life. I had my balls in my throat trying to hang on to this. A win at Spa would be amazing for me right now, and all I have to do is just keep ahead of that car behind. Going into the hairpin now, I'm just trying to get as much technique as I can into these laps. It needs to be hot lap after hot lap. My quickest lap here was a 16.3. His quickest lap a 16.3 as well, but a 16.31. I did a 16.35. Going into Pouhon, just taking as much of that speed as I can and turning it into exit speed as soon as I go. 0.8 seconds separates me and Finn. Can I extend that gap just that little bit to break him from the toe, to break him from the slipstream, just so I can start driving away or have a bit of a buffer zone? Either or. I don't think I'll be able to start driving away on my pace as of now, but if I can have a kind of buffer just to keep me away from those 2 Ferrari headlights behind me, then I would be a lot more comfortable. Lap 9, P1, 0.5 seconds to the Finn behind. Going into turn 1 for the 10th time this race, I've only got about 5 or so laps until we finish up, until it's the final lap. And I have to pit as well. That's a big one. I have to make sure that my pit strategy is in line with his. And here we go, down into the pits now. On the final lap of my fuel, you can see the low fuel sign just on my dash now. 1.0 laps remaining, but regardless, I wanted to come in reasonably early. Finn comes in at the same time. But this is where it's all going to go wrong for me. We go into our pit box, right? We stop. Finn stops 1 slot ahead. I think it's all okay until I just about finish up loading in my fuel and Finn takes off first. I've lost the lead of this race. The Ferrari now ahead, and I have to try and get that gap back within 3 laps. The gap between me and him coming out of the pits was 1 second up through Eau Rouge, and I just had to chip away at this in a matter of 3 laps. It's likely I overfueled or he was trying to fuel save, but whatever happened, I lost about 1.5 seconds through there. And now I've got to try and get it back with the limited time that I have. It's still about 0.9 seconds going into the hairpin, back up to 1.0 as we continue. Incredibly even against us. I just have to hope that there's some mistakes made At this point, I've cracked the gap down to 0.3 seconds, and I just have to maintain this, stay in his slipstream, and don't fall back. If I make a single mistake, it could be a race over for me. It could be my position staying as P2 as I cross the line, but that's not in my interest right now. I'm fighting for a win, and I'm fighting for the points that I could get. P1 is 1 extra point, and at this point, he's on track to get 2 extra points because of the fastest lap. Now I am sure that I will not be beating this anytime soon. My tires are fucked, and I am just focused on, rather than putting in hot laps, my intent is closer to just getting ahead. That's all I need to do. As long as I can have my front bumper ahead of his at the start-finish line, then I can win the race. That's usually how it works. This is the 13th lap out of the 30 minutes that we have. This was not the last lap, but I still look towards the inside, try and get something done. Can I hold on to it, or is he going to hold on around the outside? I'm trying to push as much air as I can on his rear wing. If I can take this, then I can just hold on to the lead of this race, and I have. That's all I have to do now. All I have to do is defend. He looks towards the inside. I cover it off. He can't do anything. I have to keep this position. I've got only 2 or so laps to go, maybe even 1.5. Going through the hairpin now, going up to Blanchimont. 0.5 seconds separates me and Finn Catlin as I finish off the penultimate lap of this race. Going into Blanchimont now. If he sends it down to the bus stop, and I'm not leading on the final lap, which he doesn't, but look at the brake performance on that Ferrari. Squeezes the gap down to 0.3 seconds. Heading us onto the final lap now. 0.19 seconds between us as I'm P1 and he's P2. He will have the slipstream. Going up into Lecombe, I will not. I'm going to have to defend from Finn. I'm going to have to choose the better line. I'm going to have to keep as much speed as I can through these set of corners. We come up Eau Rouge for the final time of this race. 0.2 seconds separates us. Going down into Lecombe, I try and cover off as much as I can. He goes straight back towards the inside. I leave a bit of space. He makes the switch back towards the inside. We're going to be side by side through Lecombe. I'm on the outside. I'm on the inside for this next corner. I'll be on the outside for this next one. Going and exiting these sets of corners. He gets on the curb. There's contact. I'm in the gravel now. There's a second that develops between us on the final lap. Can I reduce this gap and get the lead back, or am I going to have to settle for second? Going into turn 11 now. No Name. He is 0.9 seconds ahead now. He's gained 8 tenths. He's giving the gap back. On the final lap of this race, he is keeping it fair. He's reduced the gap to 0.1 seconds between us. Going into Pouhon now. I've got a better run than him. Can I try and do something? Going into Fens now. In his rear, look towards the inside. There's nothing of it. I can't do it. I have to stay back, and I just have to prioritize my line. Going into the left-hander now. 0.2 seconds still separates us. Can I get something done going into the bus stop? That would be my last chance, my last opportunity to take P1, to take these points home. That's all I need to do. It's the bus stop chicane. I've got the slipstream. I have a run. 0.2 seconds still separates us. But we've got about 1 kilometer of track to go down for me to get this slipstream, for me to get this position back. We go through Blanchimont now. 0.1 seconds separates us. He leads us into the bus stop chicane. He doesn't defend. He stays to the outside. I send it towards the inside. Can I make it stick? Now going into this chicane. I have the inside for the first bit. Will he be able to hang it around the outside? No, he won't. Is there some sort of switchback that will happen, or can I hang on? P1 at Spa. I've finished with a 0.36 second gap between us. What a brilliant race that was. Fighting all the way down to the last lap. There was a position change in the bits. Here's some donuts. What a brilliant race, and what a fantastic victory. That was my first win in a WSRC championship. Here we are car boxing on the Kemmel Straight, where it happens after every race, to be completely honest. Smashing into all 4 of the teammates. We finished P1, P2, P4 and P5 out Team Nazari. And it was actually a really good finish for us. This is probably the best finish we've had all season, and that's not too bad at all if you ask me.